stream number 3 for us. And what is the third stream? A question and answer stream. The usual stuff. Good evening, everyone. Today with Michael, me, Arthur, and as always a little late. But hope we can make up for that by doing some entertainment tonight. As always,
we're very fashionably late.
Yeah, we're fashionably late. I'll take the blame. I think it like 5 minutes till I got on the computer and a message. I said I just woke up. Somehow I've got the stream on my schedule for tomorrow. Oops. Shit happens. We will try to entertain you though. Just getting my YouTube up so I can see some chat.
I really need a fourth screen. I'm running out of screen real space to stream.
Or Mac, like I tell him. I still don't have the width. I wish I did.
Yeah. That's what you get for being late.
It is. So we're live on YouTube, Twitch, and this time around we've got Steam working as well. So if you're watching this on the Steam store page or on the broadcast and you're not familiar, we basically just do a Q&A session. We talk anything from game to casino to airports to world peace to really whatever. It's a fireside chat, and we call it like we see it, and we answer whatever questions. Usually we end up adding like 30 things to our to-do list by the end of the stream. Yeah, and just kind of let you guys lead the way, ask questions, talk other games. We're down for whatever.
Yay. I saw Michael already got the one thing in from last stream where if you press control you only change one material.
So much better. Yeah. Does it work on walls too?
Yeah.
Yes, that is so much better.
I hope it works. Yes, it does.
Yeah, works fine. Does exactly what.
No house is
imagine
on
if it
fire
broke
today.
straight away.
Oh, it's so much better just watching it though. It's like it's logical.
I kept shift on the old one just for like continuity.
Oh yeah, this shift is still the same as previously, and control is just the one wall, which for walls, by the way, is pretty laggy.
Yeah, it's on our list. Yeah, what does Josh's shirt say?
Anyone wants to translate that?
Mine's just a blank one. Didn't really need to show it.
By the way, for Michael, you probably get a chance to. You already looked at this, but so I'm gonna just tell you.
Don't redraw if it's gonna be the same thing.
Yeah, you probably do a flood fill, right? To find all the walls.
I'm a bit behind on the live stream because of the video, so I'm guessing you're talking about like selecting the walls.
Yeah.
If you look at Twitch, Twitch is the lowest latency.
But yeah, if you select Control or Shift on the wall, I guess you are doing a flood fill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
well, kind of. It flood fills around the edges of the walls as opposed to like per room or sector.
But yeah, you do.
So it sort of works its way around each edge.
The point is,
you're redrawing every time instead of. There's
an easy fix for this. If you do a flood fill, you probably have a list of walls that need to be painted, right? So if you move the mouse and the new wall piece is in the list still, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, I think the issue is that if you change one, it has to reconstruct all the walls from scratch.
That's the performance issue, but he's talking about the blinking.
The blinking? I'll have a look. I'm waiting for Twitch to load now.
Yeah,
I might have
Twitch,
to come back to YouTube, is it? Some reason for me, Twitch just isn't loading.
Regarding my shirt, by the way, it's no, yes, and I don't know the actual English translation, but it's from a Louis de Funès film.
I don't even know what that is.
I'm
but
gonna go back onto the YouTube stream because that's not loading.
I just keep them all up, but yeah.
Technical difficulties.
Well, at least the stream is working.
And no houses are on fire. Somebody asked if any houses on fire today. None that we know of. I will say I felled a big tree in my backyard last night. Pretty damn proud. I turned around as soon as it came down. I turned around with my wife said the biggest smile she's ever seen on my face, and I said, just like on YouTube, because I'm like 40 hours of YouTube University into felling trees. And my first tree didn't go quite as planned, and my second tree was a speck drop. It was fantastic. So no house on fire, but we do have some trees.
I've just tested it in the build, and yeah, I can see the flickering issue. I get what you mean now.
Yeah. And the point is, if you don't change control or shift, so if you hold control, and then move the mouse to a new wall piece. If that wall piece is in the prior list, so from the old point, you don't have to change anything, because the flood fill will just result in the same list.
Yeah, the issue is that there's a disconnect between the draw and the controller, and if only one wall has to change in the entire draw, the renderer updates the entire thing.
Well, the point.
I think we added it like several months ago, but we just ended up busy with other stuff.
Yeah, we need to optimize it. We will.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's an easy optimization, because you don't even, if you move from here to here, so one wall over.
Yeah.
You don't have to change anything, not even one wall.
What you gotta understand though, Josh, is that even if one wall changes, the actual renderer is going to update all the walls.
Yeah, that is exactly my point. You don't have to update the renderer.
Yeah, you're only if none of them change. And yeah, I understand. In this case, none of them change.
Yeah, if the
yeah, I get it.
If the new piece is already in the list, no need to re-render.
Yeah, I follow. Ian in Canada from Twitch. At least the tree didn't come down on the house. That's exactly right. I had it within 2 degrees of the angle that I was shooting for. So we started with 41 trees on my property. We're now down to 39. I'm planning to take down one more tonight, hopefully. Maybe 2, if I'm in the mood for it. My wife now trusts me to put them where I say they're going to go. So we'll keep you posted on my trees, but I'm hoping to fell a few more this evening, and hopefully not in the house or the office.
By the way, Michael, your camera stopped again.
Oh dear.
Ian in Canada, when you've got a second, he's over on Twitch. He said, can we see the new income expenses screen, please? Yeah, so I saw some questions in the forum about this too, that was along the lines of they could tell that we're trying to make it more clear, but it's still confusing.
Yeah, I definitely have more ideas for this week. It's just because obviously last week it was Christmas holidays, and week before I did a bunch of other UI stuff, so it's just get into it. But definitely for this week, I think on my list is staff AI, financing screens, and then a few other like UX construction, like another like bugs and stuff.
So I don't even, I didn't even notice any change. What changed?
There was a finance distribution screen added, I think last week or week before, where it shows you a bit of a clearer breakdown between what cash you have in your bank and what you have on like the floor. And what I want to do is make it so that when you... I'm trying to think how best to explain it.
By the way, you're frozen again.
Oh dear. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. You're good all the time. It's just your camera is freezing up. Like I said, you need water cool it.
As in like the quality, because I know it went bad earlier randomly.
Yeah, the audio, it seems like your audio quality got worse.
It's probably switched over. I've got it set to my microphone, but it still keeps randomly switching to my webcam.
I see on Mac, this stuff just works.
If it becomes a problem, I might have to switch to my old webcam from last week and just see how it goes.
We just bought Michael a brand new camera, which also it's amazing. Amazon in the UK can get things to on Christmas Eve. You could still get stuff delivered next day. In the US, like the soonest I can get anything delivered is like Friday right now, maybe. We bought him a new webcam to try to fix this, and meanwhile, yeah, he's sitting there frozen.
Yes, for the. Let me just quickly try my camera again now.
So David S on YouTube says it almost seems there has to be a vault screen and a bank screen. That's kind of what I like. To me, the problem is there's no real easy way to see what's out in play, like whether it's in. Really, there's three things: how much is in play in people's possession that are either in the casino or have left. There's how much is in play on your table games and in your machines. And then there's how much is in your vault. And they're three totally distinct things. I feel like we literally need it, like a cash flow screen that shows exactly how much is in each of those areas. I mean,
yes, that's basically what I wanted to work on this week, was a separate screen for bank and bottom, basically to make it so that on your profit and loss it shows you what money has come in that has actually been spent, rather than just what actually went through the vault. Because the thing to remember is, if somebody spends $10 but that doesn't end up in your vault, then technically your profit and loss could be showing like a negative where you actually made money. So I think we're going to change it so that instead of showing what went through your vault, maybe put on a separate screen, and the main profit and loss screen actually adds up what was made that day, regardless of whether you actually collected it or not. Just so that all the totals add up correctly and you can actually see what's making profits or not. I mean, I think a second suggestion on the forum was to make it so that...
Sorry, can you fix your mic back to it's on the wrong mic or whatever. It's terrible.
It's telling me it's on the right one. I think if I leave audio and try...
There's an echo or something.
Is that working?
It's not beautiful. I've heard better.
I'm literally just going to keep turning it off and on again until it works.
What do you have it set on? If you go to settings,
it's definitely on my microphone.
And you go to...
And then that's on my webcam. And now I set it back.
And do you have... It sounds like it's almost playing twice, like you can hear yourself or something. Or suppress background noise, maybe turn that off or something. I don't know.
Weird, I'm not changing any settings, it's just...
Is it just me? You guys hear him sounding like a robot?
No, it's I'm robotic? Gonna say it's Zoom.
Possibly.
Oh my goodness, that's beautiful.
Yeah, we'll have to work.
I can hear you perfectly now.
It's come back again.
That's beautiful.
I literally just kept retrying it. Okay, so hopefully it'll last a full 5 minutes before we have to do it again.
Yeah, well now you sound. Just don't touch your computer. And we're programmers.
It was on about
and
bank screen.
Yeah, so the bank screen. So here's what I envision. I got to tell you, like, to me, it should just be. It's a balance sheet basically of. There should be a column for each money on the tables, money in people's hand, money in the vault. The sum of that equals out to all your ducks, like you said, everything adding up. Like, yeah. I mean, basically, like, we know what the total is. You need to be able to see in one screen what exactly where all of that total is. at any moment.
So the new distribution screen does kind of do that. So it shows you how much is in your vault, how much is lying on the floor, and I think it also shows you how much total is in all the machines and tables. So the things it's missing is the profit at the bottom actually does show how much was made directly, not including like vault intake and outtakes. Basically, if somebody spends $10, it will show up in that profit, even if it never got collected in the vault. But it just needs more of a breakdown of it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I see you got it up on Twitch. Is much faster. So Ian in Canada, he has money in people's hands. Do you mean no? So what I mean is basically money in people's hands is chips that they have. So once they've given cash and they've gotten either a payout receipt or they've gotten chips, that's a liability because they have some coupon that they later can and probably will redeem for money that you've got to pay back out. And that's where the disconnect is. And it's part of me is like, no wonder like casinos have so much like software, and I mean it's a fairly complex problem to track. It's not rocket science, but can you imagine like the scale at which a casino in real life is doing this? But that's what I'm talking about. Is I see it kind of as a balance sheet. Like every time somebody gets a payout ticket or they have chips in their possession, that's truly just a liability. It's money you owe them when they come and redeem. How to show that well, like for instance, we do simulate even some people leave the casino without cashing in their chips, and that happens in real life too. In fact, I was in my closet pulling wire over the weekend, adding an outlet, and I actually found 2 Tropicana chips. They must have been probably about 5 years old. It was from a bachelor party I went to. 2 $5 chips from the Tropicana in here in Vegas, sitting on the top shelf of my closet. So like that does happen. How do you account for that? How do you show all this in a way that makes sense? I think it's getting better. It's still not perfect. That's why we're in early access though too, so we can make it better.
This stream is in early access as I try and fix my video.
You would think that by now we'd have this shit down. We'll do Discord next time, Joshua. I'll bow to you. We tried it last time though, and it didn't work for me.
Well, we tried half an hour before the stream instead of taking the time to test and way before the stream.
Okay, point taken. I will take responsibility for that one. Can you expand out? Ian in Canada over on Twitch said, can you expand out the gambling tab of the daily profit and loss screen, please? Sure. Josh?
I'm gonna go to day 5 just to have some more.
Yeah, so to me, this screen is barely helpful. I mean...
So really, a lot of people don't get the subtotal, which is really interesting. We've had this question, and I think we need to change it, because the text up here is just not big enough. Many people look at this and think this number is wrong, but it isn't. What people don't see is the stars on all the stuff. And apparently the note on the top. They are deliberately...
Yeah, it's a lot cleaner if you don't include the vault transactions.
So it's mathematically
well,
correct, but it's just the start
It's
ones, the cash ones, are listed underneath the normal ones, but are not counted.
Yeah, but as it's laid out here, it's
real
damn near useless.
Transactions that go through your bank, not the actual daily transact. So it's counting up what actually either entered or left your bank rather than what money was made that day. So that's the change we need to make, and then we can simplify all that. The only thing is, you wouldn't be able to include the vault collection section because all of that would get double counted if you did, so that would have to be separate.
That
Everything
should
else would
be
included.
separate. That should be separate. That should basically be on its own screen, a totally distinct thing. Because what you're looking at here, like, there's two things you're looking for. One is, how did the money get in and out of the vault? Where did my actual cash go? But when you're managing the casino and trying to see how you're making money, if you are making money, what you're really worried about is the subtotals, regardless of where the money is in possession. Like, so regardless whether it's on the table or not, whether it's in somebody's chips in their hand or not, they're two totally distinct things. And really, some money's gonna quote unquote go missing between the two even. So like, there should be a vault screen where we're just seeing in and out of the vault, and then there should be a screen that shows basically the sums of what actually is going on, regardless of where the cash money is, regardless whether it made it to the vault or not. Excuse me.
Yeah. The only downside is by doing it that way, of course.
You cut out. The only downside of doing it that way is, and then we're waiting in suspense like a thriller movie.
Doesn't sound really great.
Oh, I want to see that screen here.
Which one?
Oh, can you go back? The one you just had up.
Guest needs?
Yeah, this needs to split up too.
By the way, I think you missed
We
a
lost.
question by Soldine. Oh, it was mispronounced on YouTube. Are there any plans to have more management systems beyond just making money? After you have a casino that makes profit, it starts to lose interest beyond just a design tool.
Yeah, I saw this question. It's a really good question. It's actually kind of what got me thinking about the cash stuff, along with Ian. I think we've lost Michael for the moment. He'll probably be rejoining us shortly, we hope. But so it's a good question. One of the things I really wanted to do with this game, Michael and I talked a lot about it during the development, but I want the game to be less macro management. And by that, I don't mean more micromanagement. I mean more event-driven. Sim Airport is really super macro. Like, you got hundreds of thousands of passengers coming and going in a few days' time. Their life cycle is like 6 hours tops. You can't do a whole lot. What I want to see with SimCasino is not micromanagement, but I want to see micro events. I want much more stuff to happen, like on a per agent level, and not stuff where you directly need to take action, but stuff where you need to take configuration action to make things better. Like, you have a bar that's near a nightclub, let's say, or something like that, where people continually get really drunk and they throw massive fits and scenes like my 3-year-old does. That kind of stuff. Where your fix for that is basically like security guard patrols, and same with like thieves is security guard patrols, camera rooms, and same really for the drunk thing too. It's a combo of like cameras and having staff to go action it. But the idea in my mind is basically I want to move towards event type stuff. We only got one of those in Sim Airport. Really.
And I'm back.
You are back. Welcome back.
Hello.
So that's where I see us going, is basically event driven. I want to see people get drunk. I want to see people trash hotel rooms. I want to see more hotel management stuff. I want to see more like just like event-driven stuff that it's not directly actionable, but that you need to mitigate or take steps to prevent. Even fire is something probably we'll see at some point. I want to see more game systems, oxygen, HVAC, that kind of stuff. I do, though, I wouldn't discount the design aspect too. I used to think it was stupid to have design aspect type stuff in a game like this, and then I found out that, like, when I was younger, I really was into the profit motive driven. Now I can actually play SimCasino myself, which is rare when you're a developer for the game, but I can actually play it myself and spend hours designing shit, which says a lot. Like, fairly rare.
I think the music makes it so relaxing as well.
Yeah, like, honestly, I just get drawn at, like, what Josh is doing right here, like, decorating a patio, like, is freaking facet. Like, I just like it. It's cool. I used to think it was totally stupid. So, yeah, I wouldn't discount that entirely. Like, there is always going to be some element of just, like, designing cool shit, because it turns out I find that a lot more fun than I thought I did. And that's part of, I mean, at the end of the day, when you're making a game, like, you're kind of making it for yourself. And I mean, there's three of us, like, we all get to make decisions. Michael can do stuff that he wants to do, and Josh, so, like, you get a little bit of everybody's flavor. But that's my kind of thoughts on where we're going to be going with the late game. Let's see, so quite a few here. Yeah, so the original question, where did it go? What the original question from Soldine on YouTube was, are there any plans to have more management systems beyond just making money? After you have a casino that makes profit, it starts to lose interest beyond just a design tool. Excuse me, and that was the question I was answering. And he added on just now on YouTube, he said, yeah, that sounds cool. Something that I can't fix by just throwing more money at it with the intent to just make more money, parentheses, endless money loop. And that's exactly right. Like, basically, there needs to be more, and I think Sim Airport really got this right, where every time you built one system, the next system down the line became engulfed or overwhelmed, and right now we're just scratching the surface of all the systems. I think we barely have. There's basically just the basic level systems. Hotels is one I really want to get into. HVAC I'd like to get further into, and then events. What's one of the best things about SimCasino is, unlike Sim Airport, when we released Sim Airport, we were like, we had no effing idea what we were doing, and we had to fix so much stuff. It took like 1.5 years to fix everything, and another half a year to get multiple floors in. So we ended up with only about 1 year to add systems. The sweet thing about SimCasino is it's already pretty damn stable. It's in full 3D. It's a lot sexier. And it generally is, it's a fairly smooth experience. It's actually a very smooth experience compared to what Sim Airport was on day one. So we basically get to spend quite a bit of time now just working on systems and UI UX stuff. Like we have a foundation that isn't broken on many levels, which wasn't the case before. So I expect a lot more of that kind of shit to be coming. Katie Cat.
I think we already...
Go ahead.
So I was just going to say, I think we already mentioned the gyms last week, did we? When you showed off the assets?
Yeah,
we've got stuff like that coming up.
Yeah, so we we've got the gym models. We'll probably have gyms in the next like couple weeks. I think we're working on animations for like, we've got a treadmill. We showed some of the assets. We tracked down the rest, got the models set up. We're working on animations, but that'll be coming. Katie Cat 3000 on Twitch said, "Hey guys, are there plans to have different levels of room, like economy versus suites?" Yes, so that's like one of the things I was talking about with hotels. Honestly, you can make a whole game about hotel management itself, is like even just the systems for pricing rooms and occupancy and stuff in real life are super complex. There's a whole shitload of depth we can go into there, and I expect to be exploring that pretty far in SimCasino.
You can technically rename a zone to economy if you click on the actual bedroom zone and then set the price, but to do it in like, I guess, in a more grouped form, that is coming. But you can bake it right now.
What I eventually want to see is some kind of grouping. I'd like to see. So if you Google on like, you can find academic white papers on how casinos price, not casinos, but hotels. Also applies to casinos, but the logic's a little different. But how they price rooms, how they manage their occupancy levels, they basically generally are pricing rooms based on occupancy, trying to hit a target occupancy rate while keeping their minimum price at a certain floor to avoid the undesirables. There's a shitload of depth though in real life basically there, and I would be shocked if we don't find ourselves wanting to explore it pretty far. I kind of expect that at some point you will be able to play SimCasino as basically a hotel management game as well. I mean, you basically can already, but not as robust as I expect it to be. Can you make me a little wider, please, Joshua? Please.
Okay.
I'm ADD and I gotta like wig and wag a little, and I need some space. Katie Cat, gotcha. I'm not on Discord as much as Michael and Joshua are, but it's good to know who you are. Appreciate that you're following us. We love our community. Yeah, it really is. Katie says, casino management science is so amazing to read about.
Could you decide on one position? I mean, you can give you more space, but
I want to be from here to here.
Okay, I can give you that. Wait. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change my position.
Oh, this is amazing. I feel like I have so much room to roam.
The issue is if you go
I see this.
the issue is if you go all the way to the left, you went so far to the left a second ago, you're right, that you went off your camera. So not only just off my my cropping of your camera, but actually off your camera on Zoom.
Gotcha. It's because you told me to buy this microphone arm that's too short.
Should have gotten a longer one.
That creates a really weird effect on the live stream when I turn, because of the green screen circle. It sort of creates this portal effect.
Yeah. It does. It looks like you're about to warp through to another dimension. Yeah, Katie, it is like casino science. So if you Google like white papers on casino, even just layout, like the amount of master's thesis that have been done on like where games are placed, what the odds of those placements are, like why you put certain slot machines in certain spots, like the amount of science that has been done and studies and data is freaking amazing. And I want the game to like mirror that to without infringing on any patents. It's funny. There are commercial applications to simulate casino placement, and there are patents on some of them. Basically, they run simulations to figure out what optimal placements are. I mean, the shit it's a science. When redesigning parts of the casino, I often want to remove walls in an area, not just in a line, says Zyke Lame over on Twitch. I think we have this solved, do we not?
No, you can only remove in...
I thought we had an area remove tool.
That's for the whole building, I think. So it just demolishes it.
Yeah, the remove tools drive me nuts. Because there's like 3 different ones. Why?
What we said last time was once we get multi-object selecting, which we should probably do sooner than later, then we can start looking into things like getting rid of the object remove tool and just having your multi-select objects and then click and delete. So that gets rid of one. We probably want to keep the wall tool as is, only because it can get very frustrating trying to remove. So you want to get rid of one wall. It can be quite frustrating if you can't accurately select it, if it selects neighbouring ones instead, because originally, going back like I think a year ago now, it was an area select remove wall tool, but it was a pain trying to select one wall instead of like all its neighbours.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of like the floor tool where you got one thing is good, one is bad. Why did these bathrooms have... Oh, okay, I was gonna say. Like, that was a little weird there. I thought you were being a peeping Tom. Trying
Yeah. I placed
Need
them
to
on
add curtains.
every point and then forgot.
Curtains are blinds.
Yeah, blinds would be cool, huh? Somebody add that to a list. BGBCA on YouTube. Any plans for hotel vending ice machines? Funny you ask. We actually have the model done for ice machines. I had to explain, what was it, last week, Michael? You and I were talking, and Michael's like,
yeah.
What's an ice machine? Why do they have ice machines in hotels? And I was like, are you serious? Every hotel I've ever stayed at that's not like a suite or like a high-end place, like if you're driving cross country or something and you stop at a hotel, like that's the first thing you do is you check into the room, and my dad would get up and he'd run over and he'd get ice at the ice machine, like standard everywhere.
What kind of ice?
Standard ice out of the ice machine. On every floor of every hotel has one ice machine at least, right?
Well, this is soft ice.
And I
Is it
guess the
dry
question we
ice?
was trying to figure out was what would the guests do with the ice once they had it? Would we just put it in drinks?
And I actually had trouble answering that question. I don't know what exactly so every time I traveled with my parents as a kid, we would always road trip. We'd get to our hotel. The first thing we'd do, my mom would start like opening her bag and getting ready to lay down. My dad would take the ice bucket, go fill it up. I don't know what the hell he did with it. Like, he'd bring it back, but I'm not sure what the hell was the ice for. I'm just not sure.
That's probably normal water ice.
Yeah, it's a ice maker that's hooked up. Usually it's like in the elevator lobby, like wherever the elevator is.
What type of ice was you expecting?
Yeah.
Well, if I hear ice machine, I expect some ice cream, so soft ice.
Ah,
I thought maybe you were like looking for high end. Have you ever had like clear ice?
But clear ice is interesting because it's literally just normal water ice.
Well, there's certain ice makers that I've stayed in a hotel once where they had what the heck? I looked it up too because the ice was incredibly cool. And I think it's called clear ice or something like that, where it kind of is these like little donuts of ice or something. I forget. I think it's Viking makes them and one other company. We got home. I looked it up to see if I could get one, and I saw it was like $2,000 for this little ice maker, and I was like, my ice cube trays work just fine.
You can actually make clear ice yourself. It's just how the ice is formed over time.
Yeah, that's what it's something to do with the process of how it's formed.
Specifically, how much air is in it.
Yeah, or like I think it's like no air in it basically.
Yeah.
Like the goal, something like that.
So how many different types of ice are we adding to the game then?
Yeah, he's asking the real questions.
Ice Simulator.
What's wrong with Ice Simulator?
The naming, it's Sim Ice.
Donna Monster, I said ice for our coolers on road trips over on Twitch. You know what? That is exactly right. So when we'd be on a road trip, that would be one of the things my dad would do. He'd go get ice, take it to the car, and pour it in the cooler to keep, like, we would always have, like, we'd be going from Indiana to Florida usually, and we'd stop 1 or 2 nights during the drive. That is one of the things he'd do. He would go and refill the cooler with ice. There is shaved ice too, so there's a third kind.
To be fair, you
So
don't
I
really
guess
eat that today.
the
Dry
guest
ice.
could have like an ice need, but it's fairly low, so it doesn't impact your satisfaction too much. But you basically get a small boost in satisfaction if you do provide it.
No ice need. If anything, I would have it advertise thirst and not have like only advertise thirst if they don't already have ice in their room, and have like the wine rack advertise a little bit harder if they do have ice in their room. Something along those lines, though. Basically a chained thing that makes them consider going to get ice, and that ice makes the drinks work better for them. Oh, I hate hotels, Katie Cat. She said the novelty wears off after you live there for 4 months. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of hotels. My wife loves to travel, and I'm the opposite. I'm like, I like lockdown. I don't generally leave my house for like weeks at a time already as it is. My house has everything I could want to do, or like I spend all my time like doing odds and ends around the house and like running wires through my attic. Why the hell would I want to go somewhere else that has shitty internet? It's like we're working right now, so I'm cutting these trees down in my backyard. One, because I don't hate trees, but I prefer concrete, and I prefer non-scorpion nesting stuff. And also we've got this playground coming for my kids. It's just an off-the-shelf playground thing, but we're trying to clear room. Our backyard has been kind of a disaster area for a while with rocks, and my kids' favorite thing to do is they go play in a planter bed full of dirt. They make a sandwich for daddy, and then they walk into daddy's office and they dump their bucket of dirt at my feet, and they're like, here's your cake. And I'm like, thanks guys, let's keep the dirt in the dirt.
Really
Were we not
interesting.
saving the day?
Yeah, well, no, we saved the day last night. Apparently the save the day is from PJ Masks, which it's like Power Rangers version 30. It's something else. We did a lot of saving the day yesterday.
By the way, it's really interesting how much guests want to sit.
They're tired. Also, what's the flicker going on the on these poles, on the columns.
I think
I'm
that's
not
just
quite
the
sure.
lighting.
Yeah.
Every
they
time
are
you
the light-
rotate the camera, it's the specular. It might just be a bit too bright.
Especially, it's the very tip top that bugs me. Like when you were zoomed out a little.
It's not the top. It's the edge of it. The round
The
edge,
edge
at
is-
the bottom.
Yeah, I think the specular
edge
just
at the
needs
top.
adjusting.
Okay. Yeah, can you put that on the list? Yeah, it's too, like, it shouldn't freaking sparkle like that. It may be smooth, but it's not a diamond. Right?
Diamond column. I mean, it is a fancy casino.
Okay, Charlie Ford on YouTube said, what about an undo option? So many times I accidentally hold shift when I'm doing walls or floors and makes more changes than I wanted. Okay, so we've kind of ruled out an undo. We can make it work for a few things, but making it work for everything is gonna be quite a effing task, and it's probably just not worth it. Do be aware we just added some new controls for walls and floors, though, that hopefully should make it so that you really don't need to undo, because you can select just like kind walls without overwriting everything. The only other place undo makes some sense in my mind is objects, but I don't like the idea of adding it just for object placement. Also, the ashtray, the specular's too bright too. Like way too bright on the top.
Yeah.
You can list that. Sadman Plays on YouTube. Could you guys include multi-select for rooms in order to change price for them at once? Also options for more rooms like penthouse suites, room service, servers for casino floor, continued. So we have our artist, Donna, working on a cocktail waitress uniform. Waiter, waitress, I guess. There'll be both, although in real life it is mostly female. Can't imagine why. And then, yeah, things like room service. That's something that I would be shocked if you don't see in the future. It basically will eventually. And then the entire hotel management, like setting prices, grouping rooms, and being able to set, that's all coming 100% for sure. Yeah, don't worry. You can add, we get it. We're here shooting the shit, so don't feel bad about asking again. If we don't answer your question, you can always post it on the forum. You can jump on Discord. We've got, honestly, the community is fantastic. Like, Chick can probably answer, Chick and Mod Eric can probably answer damn near any question that we can.
By the way, regarding Discord, I've got a couple of questions on Discord from someone who is not able to be here tonight.
Let's hear him.
Number one, and I asked more specifically on that one, but didn't get back to me in time. Last time I suggested a staff room, because the staff just stands outside when waiting for a task. Would like to give them a staff room to sit and wait for their task. Yeah, that's the question. And I then asked why you would really need a staff room if you don't want to add needs.
To give them a place to stand.
What did you say?
To give them a place to stand.
If we don't care about staff needs, we can just stand in the cold.
It just looks shitty, though.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, the real question is, yeah, like, in real life, you don't ever see, like, the staff that are bored and using their cell phone, they don't go stand outside the hotel or the casino and they're in a back room somewhere. So, in the original, when we were still doing this in 2D, one of the things that I had on the list was a clock in, clock out machine. If you've worked a job, like an hourly job, you know what this is. Like, you go and you put your punch card in, or that's the old school kind. But basically, like, the first thing you do when you get to work, you go and you clock in. And when you leave, you go clock out. We actually had this asset done in 2D. That was it's always bugged me that you start getting billed for the guy as soon as he spawns. He should have to, like, come and get to a clock in station and then go to get told what the hell to go do. I think a staff room makes a lot of sense for even just, that's where they go idle. I also think making them clock in and clock out makes a lot of sense. Thoughts?
I mean, yeah, that sounds good. Just gonna add it.
Sweet.
I want to go to the next question, and then I think I've got 4 in total.
It's cool.
The second one, can guests stand in the line instead of walking into each other? That is for hotel reception or cashier box. Basically anywhere where agents can queue up.
And what's the answer, Joshua?
Well, the question, I guess, is mostly can we add queues in?
So I don't want to add defined queues like we have in Sim Airport. They take up too much space. I know it is realistic, but I just, aesthetically, I'm not. I could be convinced otherwise, but my opinion is that the density of everything already, it's kind of an eyesore.
We may take a look at what was the non-defined queue called? Not chaotic one.
It's called ad hoc queue.
Yeah, we may take a look at we could take a look at this one and maybe find some way to have them
Make them
actually
line up
queue
better.
up. Yeah, line up better. They still have it somewhat random, but try to form a line some way.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally doable. We can make it look better. My gut feel, though, is that, excuse me, is that we probably don't want to do defined queue, like where you draw the actual queue. It takes up so much space, and it's already a really dense map already. Even if it is realistic, I don't love it.
But yeah, I think
we can make them look prettier, though. Yeah, for sure.
Question 3. Can we make our own cashier box, like a room but with special windows, so I can put, for example, 2 more trusted staff to work there? Just to show you an example. This, in this case, he refers to something like this, where we would usually expect a wall at the front, yeah? And then have some window or some smaller object that fits into the wall where staff is behind.
This is so.
Yeah,
this
that
was
would be quite. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I
was just
I
gonna
got thoughts.
say
Though.
it'd be simple as an art asset, just a case of getting the assets in. But yeah, I've been thinking about having like one for the cashier cage, probably one for each. Anything that has some sort of staff stood behind it, like any sort of till or hotel desk or anything like that, should have like a wall placeable version. For anyone wondering why we haven't fixed the cashier cage to be a bit bigger, if we make it touch the sides of the walls, to make it big enough it probably have to slightly collide with it, which doesn't always look good, or you'd always have a small gap in between if you didn't make it wide enough. And similarly, we can't make it any wider without making it taller, so we'd have to basically get our artists to remodel the assets. So the box itself would probably stay the same, but I would like to see like a window version that you place in the wall itself. But that is doable. It's just a case of getting the assets in.
So at the original, when we first started in 2D, that was what the asset request was actually it was basically to be able to make your own freeform bars or like service desks. As we got time crunched a little bit, and I basically told the 2D artists at the time, okay, let's just make it an object so we can make this work quickly. that was way before we had wall objects at all. Now that we have wall-mounted objects, it seems like it'd be pretty trivial. You could make a cashier cage zone, and put the windows in it. Yeah. Michael?
Sorry, I was typing it up on Git at the time, but yeah, it basically had like a regular window, but with markers on either side. So I guess a bit more like the door.
Yeah, markers on in like a cash register or a money count. So like the original spec also had it called for a money counting machine that I don't know. I think we talked about this. I mean, this is almost 2 years now, or a year and a half probably. Talked about I'd like for them to be able to add a money counting machine on to let them basically to speed up counting cash. Yeah, that kind of thing.
So to sum it up, definitely do it.
Not only doable, but so the ones that piss me off are the cashier cage. It shouldn't be. We need a standalone window version. The box office, same thing.
Hotel reception.
The reception doesn't bother me as much.
Yeah, but why not give it a window version too?
The problem is then you need to create zones.
Why?
I guess not. No.
You just take this object, make it placeable
and you
into
just
a wall.
And you just let them get robbed. Okay. Yeah.
I wonder if I could literally take the current cashier cage and just make it a wall-mounted object, and it might just work. It might look odd, but it could just work.
I'm gonna say that the cashier cage is gonna look very odd, but I'm gonna guess that the hotel reception may actually look decent.
Okay. Also,
Maybe.
Can we get a bug for these guys stuttering? Like why are the workers looking like?
It's probably repeating the animation. Although in theory it shouldn't do that, but I'd have to look at it.
Can you get a bug in the list for that?
Last question from Discord, and then we'll get back to you guys on the channels.
Wait, sorry, just to wrap that one up, sorry, real quick. So we need assets for cashier cage, box office, reception desk, possibly the buffet desk too, all the service desks. We need assets, and we need to make them a wall mountable version.
I'm gonna go the far road out and say, if you do the cash register, do we want to also do the buffet?
TBD, but quite possibly, yeah.
Because then you can actually completely separate
and then
the
a wall
kitchen area.
with the ATM as well.
So yeah, good.
Yeah,
list,
in
but
real life, it often is like that in real life, where the buffet is basically, it's pretty much wall mounted, but it's set up just like in your casino right here, where the left side is staff only. Often in like the high-end casinos, they actually will like cut your meat to order at the buffet. Like there's a couple of them, they're like $80 buffets, but they have filet mignon and they have all kinds of so buffets too. Buffet is probably one that's, and maybe it just we leave it like it is because of dirty. You can do that.
yeah, I'm just saying.
Okay, but
maybe add the option. But I'm gonna say that the rest is definitely gonna happen, I guess. But for the buffet, I'm gonna say let's take a look at it and maybe add another variant. But I guess it's not as high priority.
Yeah, the real thing is, I mean, most of the work here is going to be the assets. So
Yeah.
as long as we got the list of that, and then we can get
Assets
those
plus
started.
some code, making sure the objects can work.
Right.
But anyways, enough on that point. I've got
Sorry.
Hmm?
Sorry. Go ahead. I'll shut up.
Yeah, enough on that point. Last point from Discord. Can we make our own bar with more seats, or have a waiter delivering drinks and snacks to guests sitting in the bar zone? And
Very similar question.
So we
yeah.
don't
was-
really need a bar zone specifically, because you can do that with a patrol and then go to anyone who's sat down at either a slot machine table game. I think it includes any chair as well. It's basically just a smart object check. So as long as they're sat down, it'll include them. So bar zone specific, I guess it makes it a bit more automated, so you'd have to set the patrol each time, but you can do that. In terms of extending the bar, I think we'd have to make procedural objects or something, unless we do like a piece by piece system.
Yeah,
So
either
this was a
procedural
problem in
or-
Sim Airport too, and we ended up just doing big objects because we originally started with, we call them counter objects and counter placeable objects, kind of like we do mountable objects now. But figuring out where to make the staff stand on a fully custom built bar is really troubling. Part of the issue right now in my mind is simply there's only one bar. So like it gets pretty boring with, you have the one bar, you can colorize it, you can change the light colors, but at some point they look the freaking same, so it's boring. One fix for that is I think we've got 2 bars. I think one of them is actually ready to implement. I think the model's done.
Yeah.
There's a second one we're working on that are totally different layouts. Like I think it's a circular, a little bit bigger circular bar. Beyond that, I think patrols, cocktail waitresses is the best answer probably until we have mods, and we will get mods in where you guys can import your own models and set stuff up. I don't think we want to go into like procedural, trying to make it so you can customize the bar. I think that's asking for trouble, and I think we'd be better off letting the few of you that are really good at like modeling or customizing, making mods, let you guys have the power to make mods. We'll add in a handful more bars, and then just kind of let you guys run loose with what kind of stuff you want to make with them via mods, and
So
we'll just get better
some-
selection in for the base game.
So probably some modular.
Yeah, the kiosk patrols do work. It's just a case of adding a tutorial that actually tells players it exists. Because right now, a lot of it is just like rumors that are spread on the forums as people slowly like figure stuff out for themselves. Once we get a tutorial in, I think it'll all make a lot more sense. And as well, I think we're going to add a new staff type. So instead of having to use kiosk workers, we'll have a separate like waiter type, so it'll be a bit clearer what they do.
And that's the cocktail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because right now it's just the kiosk worker that's used.
What do we call them? Cocktail. I would suggest, at least on my part, just the woman. Yeah. So how do we name the cocktail waitress and be politically correct? Always be female. I don't know. I'd like to know. I know
Person.
sometimes.
Person.
I think in the UK you might just say drink server, but it doesn't sound as exciting.
Cocktail server. There you go. Okay, cocktail server. Well, I know we get, like, no matter what we do, we piss somebody off, but I know we made people mad because we wouldn't do gender neutral bathrooms in Sim Airport or something, and yeah.
Anyways,
We try to be politically correct.
That were the questions of WFA, and he said thanks a lot. And I'm gonna say thanks for asking those questions. Hope you have seen it by now when the VOD is online.
DJ Wezzy K on YouTube said, I posted an idea for the wall objects in Discord. Try to do it like the elevators in The Sims. Attach it to walls where it auto creates an opening. I'm not familiar with how it's done in The Sims. I am intrigued, and I'm sure one of us will see what you wrote in Discord. And The Sims has had quite a long time to refine their systems and their UI UX, so I would guess that it's probably worth taking a closer look at. see.
Yeah, I think in that game you have to place it in a wall, whereas in ours you can place it anywhere. It might be easier for us to just make it so it removes the wall in front of it automatically, rather than having it placed in the wall, because then you'd basically have to enforce it.
Yeah, but that almost makes it hard. You have to know exactly how big it is.
Also means you cannot use the custom wall design. So if you remove the wall, you always have the color or design of the placeable.
Well, in that case, we'd have to design a new elevator with no front on it at all, and then that would have to go place, because otherwise we're gonna like merge in with each other. But I think it's a lot simpler just to have it auto remove a wall, because I'm guessing it's a bit frustrating having to remember to remove a wall before you can place the elevator.
Yeah, is that the right? That's the problem you're feeling, I'm guessing. Let us know.
That's what it seems to be, is just a bit tedious having to remove a wall because you assume it slots in, but at least from our standpoint it'll be easier to just have it remove a wall than having to make it sort of fit in and merge.
Right. So those of you just joining us, we're live right now on Twitch, YouTube, and Steam. If you're checking us out on Steam, we're watching the chat. If you have questions for us, ask. We're the developers. We see through this code every day and we pour our heart and soul into it. There's nothing off the table. If you got ideas, suggestions, questions. If you don't own the game, now's a great time. It's on sale. This is the cheapest it's ever been. And it's a pretty good way to spend your holiday leading up to the new year.
Support Jerry Martin and buy the soundtrack as well.
Yeah, Jerry Martin's soundtrack, it's fantastic. Also on sale. For those of you who don't know, Jerry Martin, you've almost surely heard his music before. I think that this might be some of the best game soundtrack music he's done, but you've probably heard his stuff as a youngster playing games. Michael can gush about him more, but yeah. Anyway, you guys have any questions at all, let us know. We're happy to answer them. We'll probably stream for another about 20-30 minutes and then call it a day. I want to get some code written so Michael doesn't kill me, and I want to get a few more trees felled. I'm going to step out for just a moment and smoke a cigarette, or as unfortunately my 3-year-old says, smoke the cigarette. And she goes, Daddy, you done smoked the cigarette yet? Almost, honey.
Or as it's called in Star Wars, a death stick.
It basically is a death stick, but I'm addicted. What can I say? I enjoy it so much. So yeah, I will step right out and be right back. Let you guys take over for a few.
Michael?
Hello.
Which of the vending machines was
The snack one.
Okay.
So yeah, the drink one should work fine. It's annoying because we test it on our editor and it works perfectly fine. I mean, obviously when I upload the build, I'll do a quick test on the Steam version to make sure it's loading and that, but without assuming that everything's broken and going through everything when we upload a new build, there's no way to confirm that every new thing we've added is going to work. Because otherwise we'd have to add on like an extra day of testing just to retest what we've already tested in our editor build in case it's different on the Steam build. I think it might be a Unity issue. I think Arthur's going to work on addressables at some point, which is basically how it loads all the data and that and the models. But yeah, that's just a summary of some of the struggles we have when we test it. It works great, and then we upload it, and then it stops working.
So as you can see, the snack vending machine is currently invisible. The fix for it is already up, but I couldn't update the game in time before the stream. So if you update your game...
I think you got a warning at the start.
A warning?
When you first loaded the game, it warned you saying there was an update.
Yeah. They still work, it's just it's not visible. By the way, Michael, you added these 4 buttons or these 4 icons down here, right? The Gambler, Entertainment, Business, Hotel, Lodger, right?
I'm just waiting for the stream to catch up. I guess, yeah, there's 4 at the bottom. See, I did those today. I think I need to make it look a bit nicer, but basically when you hover over them, it'll show you whether your demand is going up or down, or if it's staying the same. Because the biggest problem with theatres, a lot of people not understanding how the demand works, but also might be, as far as I can tell, the theatre demand is working. It just needs some more tweaks. But I did make it today so that when a theatre show is running, it doesn't just make entertainment more attractive like bingo, it specifically makes the box office more attractive, so that should help, but we'll just have to see how it goes. It's always a balance, because if we force people into the theatre, that can have problems on certain maps, so you don't really want to do that. But then not forcing it can then obviously cause problems where theatres seem to be starved of customers, but it should be much clearer now when demand is going up and down throughout the day and easier to track. We still need to add things like graphs, but that's gonna take a while to get in. It's just this is the simplest way to get it out there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say the colors are really problematic. So I just only noticed now that there's actually arrows.
Yeah. I'll put the colors back. It's because on the demographic screen, if you click on the face and then go to demographics, each one has a color to match. I guess I just need to find a better way of doing it.
Maybe it's only color. Definitely tone down the color a little bit, but maybe just color the icon and the arrows is gonna be green for up and red for down.
I mean, I guess I don't really want to make it red for down, because that implies something's gone wrong or bad, when it could just be a natural end of the day, so I'll probably just leave them all, I guess, white.
Also possibly.
Don't know if I'll keep the icons coloured or just white. I'll see how both looks.
Yeah, just saying it's really hard to see on a glance right now. Yeah, by the way, your camera is stuck again.
Yeah, and I think it's been like that for ages.
And I've seen Alo is coming in, Donna's also watching, which is lovely. Alo said glad Chair made it to this stream. I think we had Chair around last stream too, right?
Another thing I did today was when a sports book over a weekend, it can get sort of mini sporting events, so that'll bring in some extra people who like the theatre or go directly to or at least they should in theory go to the sports book. But yeah, again, it just makes it a bit more attractive to them, because I think there was an issue, not many people going to sports books. It's just really hard to balance, because if you've got a casino full of slot machines, it's very likely your slot machines are near the entrance, so that's what I guess they're going to prioritize. So if you have to walk to the back to reach the facility, it's going to put them off.
I think we already toned down distance a lot, right?
I think so, yeah. But I'm showing the last stream after we were saying about increasing it again to make it more like Parkitect, so I don't know. Hopefully we'll keep it not too distance heavy, because I don't think this game needs it. The big problem really is on Parkitect, it makes sense, I guess. Crowd around the same thing, they can actually they can make it quite simple. So if you build a new roller coaster, it's natural to see 200 people go straight there and queue in a long line. If you didn't see that, you'd think it was bugged. But in our game, even if just 4 people queue at the same table game, it looks really bad, like the entire system's broken. So it's always we can't really make it work the same way as Parkitect, because this moment you get even just a short queue, it looks like it's not efficient anymore. Whereas in Parkitect, if you saw a bunch of rides with no queues, it would just look odd.
It's also just a completely different feeling. It's not feeling, but concept. Basically, Here and in Sim Airport too, you don't want queues. You want short queues, as short as possible, and as high as possible throughput. While the throughput still stands for architect, of course, you want to have as many guests on your ride as possible. You actually want long queues because that means your ride is liked.
And if you look at something like 2 Point Hospital, they have the advantage that patients usually come in with a specific disease, so it's reception first, then GP. They might go to a toilet or snack machine in between, but generally speaking, they have specific goals, so it can make it like the AI can be very well directed. Even Sim Airport in a way has certain goalposts to reach, whereas in ours, because it's a lot more free, we have to sort of balance, okay, how are we gonna get them to visit lots of places, but without sort of forcing them to visit certain places.
So this is something though that I posted on the forum, I think last week, maybe over the weekend, about the AI and how right now it's too knowledgeable, and they make some weird choices, like they lock onto a distant object. Allo mentioned on Twitch, I don't like the harsh penalty for distance in this type of game though. So I think what you're saying is that they shouldn't penalize, they should be more attracted even if the object is far away. One thing I'd like to see is, I think that this is called memory-based AI or something like that. I know when Rob and I were doing AI in Sim Airport, we actually started with this, and you'll get, Josh and Michael will understand this, but it was basically A-Star in real life. So what the agents would do, our first implementation of this, they would literally follow, they would go explore every sector like A-Star. And once they got in the sector, then they would have knowledge of this shit that's in that sector. And it was interesting, but it looked stupid. You had these agents running around touching hallways and it was like they were trying to touch every part of your airport. The idea though was to make it so that line of sight and knowledge of where something is impactful. And in a casino, I think that that's much more important than in an airport. You literally know what gate, you read signs, I can fly into any country and not know the language and be able to get to my plane.
By the way, I just want to stop you real quick. I think that's probably what you guys missed to implement. From what you said, I guess you only implemented knowledge-based on what they have explored. But if you think about real life, what do you do if you if you drop off at the front of a terminal? Well, you go into the terminal. That makes sense. And if you are in the terminal, what is your next destination? Well, usually some info sign or some system that lets you know where you go next. So you have to have the exploration part, but also some global system which forces the agent into the right direction.
Yeah, so what you said is spot on. At the time when we implemented it, we actually had information need in Sim Airport working very different, where it was really, the sign was attracting you. When you got to the sign and fulfilled your information, it allowed you to see multiple sectors ahead. It also allowed you to see into your life cycle goal sector, basically. We quickly though realized it only works so well in an airport game because you end up with these massive terminals. Yeah, we never flush it out fully. You're right about that. It became clear it wasn't. It was performance prohibitive. I mean, Sim Airport, we've seen saves with 40,000 agents in it. I mean, the number of paths you're running just to explore and stuff. Anyway, my point is, and I know I'm terrible about getting to my point, But my point is that I do, and I said this in a forum thread. It's probably like a 3-page forum response, something like I'm known for. But I would like to explore that, working on AI closer to that again. Because to me, casinos are much more about placement. We talked about this a little earlier too, where there's like a whole science behind it. I want to see that simulated out and played out better, where like what they can see is much more impactful and not have it so much distance based. It's not easy to do though. It also, like, it can't be fully memory based either, because you can't keep track of, you can, but we're talking about pushing RAM limits. Like, if you try to keep track of what every agent knows, that's way too shiny. Elevator shaft thingy.
I'll add it.
Anyway, my point is, I would like, and Aloe, speaking towards what you said, I actually think maybe distance is not penalized enough. The real thing though is we need to not use distance as a proxy for knowledge. We need them to actually be more intelligent about what they know. And I would really want to play with that more. I think there's a ton of potential there. Donna Monster on Twitch. How do you feel about having a parking lot area zone for car visitors at the casino rather than... Okay, so we are not going to do any user buildable roads. Just fact. It sucked up. Originally, I remember like adding this 4-6 weeks before we released Sim Airport, and I was like, oh, this will be a 3-day project. We wrote it, rewrote it. Vehicle pathfinding is a freaking hard problem to make them like know when to overtake other cars, and that it's performance intensive. It's to get good simulation. It's very performance intensive. It's a hard freaking problem, and that's actually on Hacker News. Somebody, Red Blob Games, Amir, he asked me, is that part of why you did casino for the next game, so you don't have to do any vehicle pathfinding? And I said, absolutely. We've talked about, we'll probably do some kind of loading dock or something like that, but we're not going to do any roads. Just flat out no. DJ Wezzy K on Twitch. What I always find quite weird is that a hotel guest only uses the hotel. Business guests are only using the conference and computer rooms and not stay for the games, and the gamblers are not hiring hotel rooms. Yeah, Michael, you and we've talked about this a little.
So it does technically allow them to use other services. It just depends if they leave before they get chance. Like if they're coming tired, they might sleep for 8 hours, and then I guess by that point they've already stayed the minimum time. So if unless their gambling needs sort of gets high enough before they leave, then they probably won't use any other facilities. But we could just increase their other needs more randomly. So I think like a hotel guest already has a small amount of gambling already, but we probably just need to increase it a bit further. But there's no actual limit. It's just based on like what needs they have.
Yeah, it's better now than it was initially, but the initial implementation was, they were almost Boolean, if I recall correctly. Like they were either going to be hotel or they were either hotel, a business, or gaming, and there wasn't like overlap. Whereas in real life, generally the delineation is much less. The reason Vegas makes all of its money and we have no income tax, state income tax here, is because we have, in most years, something like 5,000 conferences, and the rooms are not where they make most of the money. It's the casinos make the money off these people coming. They stay the night after the conference, and conference is really, in my experience, a code word for sending your employees on a paid party vacation. That's been my general experience with conferences, at least. Then at night, what happens? They go out, they get drunk on the company's dime, they sit down at table games, they play all night, they wake up, they miss the keynote the next morning. I'm speaking from experience here too. I think there should be more overlap, essentially.
Yeah, well, I did see someone on Discord mention that they saw quite a few business people going into the table games and spending at the higher end slots, so it's definitely possible. It's just a case of maybe tweaking it so that they have higher needs when they spawn to the other like entertainment facilities.
Yeah.
I'm gonna on that point, I'd guess we need some kind of profile for persons or guests, so that some people that come in to sleep have some gambling, but others who are specifically only coming to sleep on the hotel room or get a hotel room don't actually gamble.
I think that's basically how it works now if they just spawn with 0 gambling need, because it's random, so some will spawn with a bit higher gambling need than others. I mean, obviously the ones who are tagged as gamblers will spawn with a very high gambling need. And I guess nothing stops them from wanting to do it, if that's what you mean. So I guess you're saying one never wants to gamble. But I feel like, especially once we had like, because I think slot machines actually emit like gambling desire already, but we just don't have the overlay for it. So I think that's already kind of doable. It also depends on how often like it updates, but yeah, I think all guests can eventually build up gambling. Possibly with entertainment as well, but I can't remember. I don't know if there's any objects that do that for entertainment. But I have a feeling it works for slots, if they pass by them.
I'd like to see the opposite happen too, is gamblers have some propensity to stay. And I know we do have that via the comps and stuff. I want to see more richness in those systems for sure. I mean, the whole reason that they do comps and really the reason they do player tracking or loyalty cards is basically player tracking, so that they know who to market to, who to send mail to, and give them extra points or whatever. Basically, how to lure them back in.
To be fair, it's already working to some extent. Like looking through my hotel rooms, I see gamblers, entertainees, gamblers, a lot of hotel lodgers, of course. But my hotel is definitely too big for just hotel lodgers. So it's already working to some extent.
Also, so can we add to the list I hate how they all look identical when they're laying down. Like, we got to get a blend in there, a second animation or something.
I think that's.
I'd like to get like the sheet to pull over them. I mean, it looks sort of stupid.
Well, the issue is there is no animation for it currently.
Yeah, no, I know. That's what I'm saying is.
But yeah, I think we've talked about this several times now.
If it's not on the, can we get Donna to make an animation for the bed sheet to make the bed actually like have a 0 to 1 animation that we can play?
Yeah. See, this is the thing. The list gets longer and longer.
Every time we have a stream, guys, this is why if you don't own the game yet, now is a great time to pick it up, because I'm a kid in a candy store and I think these guys are like, can we get Arthur off the stream? Every time we get on here, our list just grows and grows and grows. But that's how I am. I just, I can't help myself. Time we got 12:10. All right. Any last questions for us, we've got the development team here. We're a small indie team who has just released this awesome title into early access. Great soundtrack from Jerry Martin. If you don't have the game yet, you're watching us on Steam. Great time to pick it up. If you're watching us on Twitch or YouTube, we appreciate you. If you are playing the game and you haven't left a review yet, we always would appreciate that. We're doing we're live streaming, and we basically do a fireside chat. If you have questions, shoot them over. You can always ask questions on the Discord, on the Steam forum. We're on there constantly. And yeah, if you have questions, we'll take any last questions now, and then we'll probably wrap it up. I'm gonna get some code written today, and then I'm gonna chop some trees down. I see on YouTube what are Soldion asked, what are the plans to expand the business center aspect? So I'm not sure about the business center directly. I feel like it's fairly self-contained. Sometimes I'm still surprised that hotels still have business centers. Like, the only reason for it, in my opinion, is a printer. Everybody's bringing a laptop or their phone or whatever. If anything, I'd like to see Wi-Fi coverage be something that you need. Possibly Wi-Fi in like room Wi-Fi coverage. Like, I think Wi-Fi would be a good system to put in the game, like HVAC. The other area that I do want to see expanded here, sort of related, is conferences and performers. We talked about this last stream, but I'll bring the same example, but Britney Spears makes like $53 million a year to perform at one casino every single night. And they do that not because they're making, my guess is that they're losing substantial money on her ticket sales, or they're maybe breaking even or something, but they do that to lure people in. My wife and I, for instance, we there's a comedy show, a comedian that we love. We have a ticket for next July that we bought 2 or 3 months ago, maybe like 6 months ago, at a hotel casino on the Strip here in Vegas. They do those shows not to make a fortune on the tickets. The tickets were like $100 or something. They're fairly cheap. The hotels and casinos do it so that they get customers in. Same with conferences. That's what I'd like to see that expanded a lot, so that you can leverage the business center, but really leverage getting business customers in through conferences, through performers. Basically expand that whole system. Any tips on getting people to the sportsbook or bingo? Ben asked over on YouTube. Any tips for him?
I don't know if there's any specific tips. I did make it today so that on a weekend there'll be like a sporting event which encourages more people to turn up. It basically acts like a marketing event, and it also specifically tags like your sports books to encourage more people to use it in the find best objects algorithm. So we'll have to see how it does in improving, but we should see more guests on a weekend using the sports book. I basically did the same fix to that as I did for the theatre, where instead of it advertising like all entertainment when a show's done, it now focuses on the actual box offices. So that was the first fix. I think just in general, I think we just need to keep tuning the AI. We have to be careful if we tune one too high, like in airport. You have a risk of everyone flooding one facility. It might even be a case of, I guess this goes against what we were saying earlier, maybe making some guests focus more specifically on wanting to do sportsbook or bingo when they arrive rather than finding it dynamically. But I guess it's one of those things where we have to got two different ideals that we'll have to work out.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not even it's not even the ideal. It's the reality is it's damn difficult to balance it. I mean, the line you're looking for there is so freaking fine. Like, you want, it's underutilized versus a tiny little change can make everything else be underutilized and make it be like it's super fine line. And the reality is you can't really just hard code this stuff. Like, you can't just say like only allow 5 people before you end up with all kinds of problems where as soon as the 5th person leaves, now everybody takes off running for that last spot that just opened up. Like, these problems that seem simple like this, and we already know most of this. So with Sim Airport, we were just learning, like, we would tweak a knob and you'd see everybody take off running at once for the last spot. At least now we know what we can't do. It's a matter of figuring out how to tweak and find that fine line to balance it. I'm glad to hear that change. I didn't know you made that change, Michael, but that's spot on.
That was literally just there.
Cool. Yeah, it's spot on. We've talked about it before too, but on a stream, I think it's on the roadmap, is I'd love to see us work on like a contract system for what video you show in your casino. So for instance, you have to license the NFL games or license sports, horse racing network to be able to show the games, and based on what races, what you're showing on your TV, that would impact basically how popular your sportsbook could be or how much marketing effect it has. But Michael's change today is like a massive step in the right direction. Is that out yet?
I think it is, yeah. It was in the last hotfix, like patch. It probably needs some more balance. It's just, without going through loads and loads of casinos, it's hard to tell exactly.
Yeah, the AI is, I mean, I love to call it emergent because it's opportunistic. Like, you can't say none of us can say for exactly sure in any given layout, like how the agents are going to perform. We can make pretty good educated guesses, but that's part of why it's a good thing. Like, if you knew exactly what they do, it would be boring. Like, you really do want them to have a mind of their own. It also makes it damn hard to get it perfect, but
that's why I sometimes envy like the theme park games, because obviously they can just have a giant queue of people waiting outside a ride and everyone thinks that's normal. But here you kind of want everyone to be distributed but not, whereas in a park game, like, you can have like 10 rides that spawn 400 people for it and it just works.
Yeah, even in Sim Airport, it's much easier because worst case, if you're struggling to get something balanced, you can drop needs and push them towards their life cycle goal. Like, you know their life cycle short, you know where they need to end up eventually. Whereas in SimCasino, like, they've got a long life cycle, and perhaps not long enough right now. Even in some cases, we should probably lengthen it. So you literally need to make sure that they're intelligent on every decision, or at least logical. It'll be a continual work in progress. Like, the AI is really the heart of the game, of the gameplay outside of like the design and the layout and the system stuff. I mean, it'll constantly be a work in progress. Ian in Canada, what about being able to buy a license for some sort of premium race? We're hosting the Triple Crown kind of thing. We talked about this. It's something we're going to do to some degree, like being able to basically license games. We even talked about having one of the plots maybe have a racetrack next to it already, and you can buy that plot and actually, so you wouldn't build the racetrack yourself, but you would be able to like make money off the races that are there. Okay. You would ask.
At
Ian.
one point, didn't you build a TV and it actually had the live sports on it?
So during development for a while, Michael made me take this out, but I had Vikings games playing on the in-game TV. I'm a Vikings fan, and I had live football being played. It was pretty sweet too.
Did you choose a game better than this season?
Yes, the Vikings not very good this season. This season we should probably show Packer games. I know. Josh is a Packer fan.
Turning into a football discussion.
Hey, it's been some good football here lately. It's hard to argue with it. Although honestly, that punt block, man. Are you serious? He was, one, not offsides, and two, the guy that hit the ball wasn't even the guy that they called offsides. He wasn't offsides, and if anything, the guy that was supposedly offsides, he was held on the play. The guy literally hooked him. Do you disagree?
Thanks for watching our stream. Bye, everyone.
Do you disagree, Joshua?
Yes, I actually saw someone made a picture on the Green Bay Packers subreddit, and the issue is that the camera is extremely angled off, and if you redraw the line, I thought too that call was just wrong, and I don't know how they would call that, but if you actually redraw the line where the line of scrimmage was, you can see that he was slightly offside.
You legitimately?
Yes.
Like an expectation where you would think they would call it every single time?
Yes. It's hard to tell from the camera angle, but from the on-field perspective, I can see why they definitely call it each time. Okay,
I'll give you that. Then why didn't they call holding? Because the guy was held.
I don't know. Maybe
honestly,
I'm gonna guess.
it really. I thought it was a bullshit call.
I'm gonna guess they snapped and then shut the play, calling the offside. But at that point, the play was over, so the holding just didn't exist. It happened. But
They didn't blow the play dead. They would only blow the play dead if it was unabated to the quarterback.
Yeah, no
unabated.
idea. I mean, in the end, it was 40.
Yeah, no, I know.
Huh? So
I turned the game off after that play because I was like, that's just a little much.
Yeah, I even asked you why do you even watch?
Yeah, well, it's the same thing that the Vikings game. They in Tampa Bay last week, they Hail Mary at the end of the half. Tom Brady throws it up. They call freaking defensive pass interference on a Hail Mary at the end of the half. I mean, ridiculous. Just so happens Roger Goodell's in the stands.
By the way, I saw Donna and DJ Vezi writing on YouTube, and Vezi said that I mentioned on the Discord that there's a lot of people working on the game. You can actually check it out. Settings, credits. There's a full list. I think everyone is on there working on.
Yeah, we've got there's a few that aren't on it yet. So Donna is a recent addition to the team. She is a art generalist. She's really a technical artist. She just doesn't admit it. She has recently joined the team. She's helping a lot with things like getting specular under control, understanding why some of the things work the way they do graphically, and also she's been a huge help for like animations. A lot of this stuff, so we know the systems, the logic part from Sim Airport. For like the 3D stuff, we're still learning and it's new. Donna's been really helpful. So until up to this point, Arthur P and us, we kind of just struggled through it. We made everything, we just made shit work. That's what we do as developers, which is great. Like I think the game looks pretty freaking great. It's getting the polish level. Donna's really been super helpful for that. She'll continue to be super helpful in that regard. We've got Reese, who he actually wrote a little web app where you upload your save file, and it lets you like randomize all your slot machine games and edit your cache. And we saw it, and like we always do, told them, hey, this is awesome shit. Let's chat. If you're into games, you obviously like SimCasino enough to build a tool on your own time for the hell of it. Let's see if like you want to see the source code. Maybe you can help us fix some bugs or implement some stuff. And so Reese he's working with us part-time. He actually added the vending machines. That was his first contribution that got out to the public. We've got high hopes for him too. We're always, anybody else listening, if you're a C# person, really, if you got any if you got spare time and you're, an expert at shaders or something, we're always looking for smart people. Joshua came from the same thing. Joshua had hundreds of hours in the game before he joined the team, and he's now like our right-hand man. Joshua can figure anything out except for video streams. Kidding. And Michael, same thing. Michael actually wrote a kind of scathing review on Sim Airport.
It was a good review.
It was a good review. And I reached out. It turns out Michael's a software developer and wants to build games and didn't have a job yet. And now Michael's also the right-hand man. And yeah, like literally same thing with Donna. Donna was she still plays SimCasino, and she reached out like, hey, do you guys need any help? I'd love to even just intern or add some models or help hover. And it's awesome to have people that literally like know the game really well. And I mean that's like 80% of it is knowing, like understanding how shit fits together. That's how you make it look good and make the logic work together.
I've got 2 points on.
We gotta update the credits though. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've got 2 points on top of that. Definitely don't be afraid to write us, especially if you're really good at C# but don't have too much game dev experience. For example, I had barely even touched Unity back when Arthur wrote me. I had to learn all that stuff first. But I think C# and algorithmically, so the technical aspect was my strength, and then learning Unity wasn't too hard on top of it.
Yeah, really. I mean, most of what we write, we don't use Unity like most companies do. If you have a ton of Unity experience, it's not even that overly helpful. You really need to be great at C#, which is Josh's forte indeed. And Michael was kind of the opposite. He wasn't the C# expert. He was super like logic driven, and now they've kind of converged. I see.
I was gonna say I wasn't that good at C#, but I'd also never used Unity either. So I don't know what I was.
Well, you knew you're very good at logic and systems, and you guys both converged. By the way, I'm super effing proud of our team. Like, Joshua put it best, I think, when you told me like SimCasino looks like a game that was created by more than 2 or 3 people. And yeah, it was more than 2 or 3 people, but code-wise, it wasn't. There's a shitload here for like a team of this size, and from a bootstrapped company. Like we don't have external funding. We're an indie. We literally do this because we like making games. Like there are easier ways to make money out there, probably much easier, but like we actually friggin' love this stuff, and I'm super proud of our team.
By the way, the second point I just wanted to say, not in the credits, and I just added a small thanks on the gameplay language dialogue, are all the people who help out translate SimCasino. And we've got a bunch of languages with a really high quality already. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who translated, helped out. And if you have some knowledge of 2 languages, and I'm guessing since you watched this, English is one of those. So if you want to help us translate, got a post up. Generally, it's a localizer. Check out the Steam forum. There's a post up pinned on the general discussions on how you can help out. And
yeah, huge thanks to everyone that's helping out too. Like it's,
I think, for example, German. We've got German translated in like 2 weeks, 2.5, since we launched the translation stuff.
and the quality, like I know some people are like, hey, why do we have to do this? Why don't you guys pay somebody? So like for Sim Airport, we paid a company to translate like a handful of languages. It's really expensive, and so for one, it takes away. The more money we spend on that kind of shit, the less time we have to add stuff to the game because we have bills to pay and families and all that. The other thing is the quality of the translation sucked. Like we paid all this money for them and they were shitty. So
basically, imagine having some project you should want to translate, but you don't know anything about the project. And that's the great thing about community translation. You guys translate it. You guys come here. You play SimCasino because you like it, and you translate it because you want to help us out. But you already know what you translate.
Yeah, you have that context. The other great thing is it, like we continue to add features. We continue to add. We'll be adding tutorials and all this stuff, and so if we go out and pay somebody to do it, and then we're hamstrung when we want to make changes later because we either got to pay them again or so. Like that's why we do the community-driven thing. We really do. We appreciate tremendously those of you guys who have helped with that. And don't worry if you haven't. I'm a single language kind of guy. It's tough enough for me to.
I'm half Spanish and I can't speak any Spanish.
Yeah,
And then they're gonna blame my dad for that.
English alone is tough for me.
To be fair, I'm 100% German, but I still don't really have the time to help out. Luckily, we've got a really great big German fan base that went ham on translating it. So I didn't even have to help out, and it went so fast. It's a madness.
Yeah. Blue Wing Sniper on Twitch said, is there any mod API or possible story mod in the future? So right now there is not a mod API. There will be a mod API in the future.
With a star. So I'm gonna do one point in regards to mod API stuff. We will probably do similar stuff to how we did it in Sim Airport, with one small change. With Sim Airport, I still wasn't completely clear on how you mod exactly. So what I wanted to do is have some library we provide that makes it easier for you. But in the end, that actually makes it harder because that library only has some limited stuff, and we'd have to add all the stuff you want to mod first. The easier way to just mod the game is having some mod loader, which we will add, just like Sim Airport had. And if you want to change something, you just reference the primary assembly DLL in this case from the game. The DLL is always provided if you have the game installed, and then you have access to the normal code base you also have. That may mean you need to do some reflection at parts, but I'm gonna say there's libraries to easily replace stuff. And we also are always happy to work with you guys to work stuff out or make it better to be easier to mod. Let's say it like that.
Yeah, so Josh is our mod expert. He did most of the mod stuff, or kind of took it over for Sim Airport, and he still actively works on that. And he does like some Sim Airport dev streams where he'll live code and add mod features and stuff. I'll pretend I understood most of what Joshua said. The simple answer though is yes, there will be mod support. There will be mod API. There's technical mumbo jumbo in there that Joshua can probably best answer. The only thing I would add is that I want to see 2 areas of mods in way sooner than later. One is I want to see custom textures in. We already have the ability to load them pretty trivially. The other is I want to see shit, I just had it in my head. We want custom textures. What's the other one?
Objects.
Models?
Or custom picture
Custom
frames or
signs
something?
or
Yeah, maybe it is just, they're both just, oh no, sorry, videos. So I want custom videos. It's basically the same as textures. I want you to be able to put on the TVs, whatever you want. Same with, or like to be able to pull in your own slot machine game. Because it's fairly simple for us to wire up, and I want those to be shareable on the workshop, and sooner than later. The next step in my mind is custom models. We actually have a custom model thing working, a proof of concept for it. The thing where all the work is that needs done is basically the configuration of the objects and like what does that package look like? We know we can technically load in textures and we can technically load in the models. It's a matter of how do you package those up, and then like building UIs for workshop and shit like that. That'll be coming in 2021 though. Some of that, like custom textures, I'd like to see in sooner than later. Same with custom videos. But I mean, if you guys left priority up to me, everything would be top priority, and we would never get anything done. I saw Aloe asked, are we still going to get different colors for access dots for the markers, staff versus guests? Michael?
Yeah, that's just on the list. I can probably push it up higher priority so that we don't forget, but it was basically added on a couple of weeks ago, then a combination of other bugs, sign and screen, and like for holidays just ended up being higher priority.
Just assign it. I mean, it's a 10-minute fix. Sign it to you, Russia. And yeah. So yes, sorry, Al. We will get it. It's not forgotten. It's just, yeah, it's that priority thing. Blame me. That's how it always goes. I come up with something to throw these guys' way. Sweet. 12:40 by my clock.
We've been going
Just
for
check
2
and see
hours.
if I miss anything.
So we started
Sweet.
late, but I think we have got our usual time.
Yeah, we usually stream about 2 hours. We did start late. That's normal too, though. So I suppose we shall wrap it up. We've been streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and on Steam. We're the 3 developers behind the game with LV Game Dev. If you don't own the game yet, it's a really, really good time to pick it up. It's 20% off. Soundtrack is also 20% off by Jerry Martin. We are active as hell, and we are constantly adding stuff. Michael often slips out 3 releases a day and only tells us about one of them.
That only happens if I get a panic bug in.
It's funny how often that happens.
It's
These are all
probably-
good things, though.
It's probably time to start Edge.
Yeah, we are. We're gonna get Edge Branch going. But yeah, I want to thank everybody who is here today. Really, everyone in the community. You guys are kick-ass. Like, it's so cool to be able to be a small team like this and make a game like SimCasino and be able to keep working. It's like a dream come true. We freaking love it, and it's because of you guys, the community. I really can't say that enough, how much we appreciate it. I mean, there are toxic communities out there. We never really dreamed we'd have a community that like rolls with the punches and like follows what we make and is so engaged and interested. It's freaking awesome. We really appreciate you guys. And if you have not left a review yet, consider doing so, please. It helps the game do better on Steam. The better the game sells on Steam, the longer we can work on it. And that's my spiel. I say the same shit every time, basically.
And I'll try and sort my camera out for next week. You genuinely made me tempted to buy a Mac just for streaming, because when my thing went out earlier, it wasn't like just an internet connection problem. It was my Bluetooth, my mouse, my keyboard, like everything just randomly went off. So I was like, okay, this clearly must be a Windows issue.
I'm gonna say it's Zoom, because I've had a lot of issues with the Zoom too.
Does Zoom actually disable random USB things?
Yeah.
My headphones and my mouse and my keyboard disconnected. I couldn't type or like move the cursor.
Did you have
that does seem like a strange feature, right? Just you telling me some software just randomly disables Bluetooth. Like that sounds like an OS bug.
Yeah.
Let's hope to get Discord up on Discord for next week.
I think that
next time
we should just ship a Mac over there and call it a day. Well, the performance has just ended. I just witnessed it. It looked like they got a raving review. And yeah, let's call it a day. We will get back to the code and we'll see you guys in the forum on Discord. You can email us. You can however you need to get a hold of us, we make it easy.
We're going to try and prioritize everything we said today, which is a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Let's wrap it up.
Sorry.
I'm gonna say
guys.
the usual stuff. Thank you all for watching. If you're still live with us and didn't watch the whole stream, the VOD is always up on YouTube. It takes some time, I'm not quite sure why, but it takes some time. If you want the link, you can just write me on Discord and I can send it to you. And as always, if you've watched this live or in the VOD, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, or any updates. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Happy holidays, happy new year. We will see you on the next stream.
Bye bye.
Bye.